Hi, welcome to Cubs and Culture for January 13th, 2018. Today is only probably going to be one part because I'm going back on third shift, so I haven't been sleeping. My sleep pattern's messed up. So because of wanting to keep doing this just to generate content, and then also I don't want to necessarily get too far into any particular topic, I decided to just do an off-season update, because finally something happened. Yay! No, the Cubs did not sign Yu Darvish. He's still a free agent. What happened was Garrett Cole, who was, he's a pitcher on the Pirates. He's a very good pitcher in general, but for whatever reason, he has been giving the Cubs fits for the last 3 years. And of any of the pitchers in the division, I would argue that Cole gives us the most amount of fits. He's pitched like 90 innings and his ERA is 2.5 or something. Anyway, and so I want to quickly talk about this. I've already said I don't like trades, and the reason, or off-season stuff, is sort of annoying because you don't really know the compositions of the teams. Well, one of the things about that, and this might sound funny, Cole, because this is his position as being the ace on the Pirates, I'm both ecstatic that he's going away from the National League Central. I'm also kind of sad because he was sort of, there's always one or two players on every single team that I associate with that team as sort of this great villain. Now, the best one in the division, of course, is Yadi Molina, who is the catcher for the Cardinals. Molina's been around forever. He's also, if you're a Cubs fan, of course, you don't necessarily really like the Cardinals. I'm going to be very, very sad when Molina finally retires and or dies. Because he might literally just drop dead one day on the diamond, because he seems to have been there forever. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I realize I've sort of been, the reason why I want to talk about this player is I realized the two other times I have mentioned him, I've just sort of said negative things about him, and it might have given the wrong impression that I don't like him. He's actually, it's Wilson Contreras. He's the catcher. Came up last year, as a, mid-season, rookie. He started Game 7, in the Game World Series. He's the principal catcher now. He's also one of 3 players who it's virtually inconceivable that the Epstein will trade this year. The other 2 being, of course, Bryant and Rizzo. So anyway, I really do like Contreras. He's my second favorite player behind Javi Baez, and depending on the day, he might be my favorite player. And so the best compliment I can give him is I hope one day there's a Cardinals fan who thinks of him as a great Cubs villain, like I think of Molina as the great Cardinals villain. I just want to quickly talk about some things I really like about him, and one of the things, of course, is Contreras had the best possible start to any major league career for a position player, in that he hit his, on the very first pitch he saw, he hit a home run to dead center. Now, if you know me, you know I like to compare baseball to an opera. Now, let me explain. In an opera, you have to sit through sections of music which are softer, a little bit more repetitive, and they're called tediums, which literally means they're tedious. And the reason for this is to give your ears a break, and to give something of a contrast. So, with the arias are the big, like when the divas come out onto the stage and they just start singing. So I like comparing baseball, though. A lot of the times you're sitting through, as a fan, you're sitting through the tediums where you're sitting through, in the mid-July, one more game against the Pirates or one more game against the Brewers to get to this. And so, like, one of the things about Wilson Contreras coming up is because he hit that home run, he immediately announced himself as, especially since how when he went around the bases, he was just pumping his fist. He's very, very hyper. And one of the reasons why I really like him is he has a great roughness to his play. So when I'm complaining about and not being a very good pitch framer, I actually, in a weird way, like that about players because, look, the best player on the team right now, and probably will be for a long time, will be Chris Bryant. He MVP last year, very solid repeat campaign. Not inconceivable that you would pick Bryant as an MVP, but here's the thing. Bryant is sort of reserved and quiet, whereas so he is one of the things I liked about Bryant's season last year is he got himself ejected. Contreras, on the other hand, he does have a sort of roughness to his game where it's just he's got to learn to funnel his anger in an appropriate direction. And I think that's a lot more interesting. So I think eventually Contreras, will have an MVP caliber season. And because of that, it's his development is much more interesting to watch because you're seeing sort of the gruffness. Now, the main sort of thing I like about Wilson Contreras is he takes it as a personal affront if someone's on base. Which is why he always seems to be like, you don't need to. If Contreras thinks he can nail you, pick you off, he will throw the ball no matter what. It's gotten him in trouble a couple of times, but I love that about him. He's like a big bulldog behind the dish. Who's just angry. And even though his pitch framing's not good, he's actually, that's really the only part of his game where he has a weakness. For a catcher, he has, he debatably should have won the Silver Slugger last year, so his offensive game is really good, and as for a catcher. And then defensively, only pitch framing, he actually was one of the best at controlling the running game, so that means caught stealing. He has the most number of pickoffs in the league. And he's made some absolutely magnificent saves at the dish. Last year against the Dodgers in the series, there was that controversial one where he nailed the guy on the chin. And then there was that other great one where he allegedly violated the Posey rule, which is nonsense this time. But again, he has sort of a this is my home sort of attitude, and I absolutely love that about him for a catcher. And the other thing I love about him is he doesn't really have social graces, and so Contreras is very, very wears his emotions on his sleeve, and I love that about his player. Okay, I want to pause because I want to tell a story about him. The reason why I was thinking about him today is something happened at Cubs Con, which I think it really shows sort of both sort of my attitude about baseball and why I'm drawn to players like Contreras and Baez. So give me a moment. Okay, so John Lester has a huge issue for a pitcher in that he can't. It's called the yips. He, for whatever reason, is not comfortable throwing to the bases. He's been working on it for the last couple of years. For the most part, this is the only reason why Rossi was on the team. But here's the thing. that's a very obvious weakness that Leicester has. And because of that, it doesn't show up in the statistics. But because of that, it's really like it makes the game a little bit more interesting if you have such an obvious weakness. So anyway, and again, going back to like a tedium and aria. So there's always, every time Leicester pitches, there's this issue about, is he going to throw over? Is he going to throw over? How are we going to control the running game? Well, last season, he managed to pick off Tommy Pham of the Cardinals because Pham was dancing 20 feet off of the base. And this is the Wilson Contreras story. Today at CubsCon, someone asked him about it. And I'm just going to quote him. And he said, yeah, I told Lester to throw the, I went out there and I said, hey, motherfucker, throw the fucking ball to first base. And he did. He got the guy out. Contreras told that today. And not only is it funny in and of itself, but he told it in a mixed crowd with children, which was grossly inappropriate. And he just doesn't quite seem to realize that. So, like, in baseball, because you spend so much time with the same amount of players, you identify with them through struggle, not through greatness. So you have to sit through one of Contreras' only one of his few offensive issues is he has a tendency, like a lot of catchers, to hit into double plays because he's kind of slow. He's fast for a catcher, but he's still a catcher. But he also tends to hit the ball on the ground a lot.